Hey everybody, the podcast you're about to listen to is a joint podcast. So this is the first time I've ever done this, but basically we were at the Farm Machinery Show a few weeks ago. So I'm going to do a podcast with Farm4profit, and then I was going to interview them for my podcast. And well, we all ran short on time, so we just decided to share the audio files and both put out the same podcast. So if you haven't heard of them guys, check them out. They have a great podcast. They put out awesome farming-based podcasts, so check them out. Good dudes. Had a great time on their show, so enjoy.
Oof, Corey, I don't know if you're going to have the energy to get this started up. This is an early morning. What did you say you wanted to name these morning trade shows?
Kind of like golf. Like you got a breakfast ball, like you're not going to tee off perfectly.
You want like a
in
practice intro is
kind
what you're
of,
saying.
Like it's we are here, and that's about it. We're not well, but we are here, and it's going to be a good day.
It
will.
will.
Be a good day.
All right, let's get our guest introduced, so that way we can see how he's feeling as well.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Today on the Farm for Fun show from the Suka Manufacturing booth at the National Farm Machinery Show, we head to Ohio to meet up with a fourth-generation farmer who shares the ups and downs of his daily life on the farm. He does that through his vlogging on YouTube and has over 153,000 subscribers. Please welcome from Southern Ohio, Mr. Brian Brown from Brian's Farming Videos.
All right.
Man, that was awesome. Can you use my intro to everything?
Could I get some oxygen? Maybe a mimosa. I don't know.
This is the first time I've gotten to sit next to you at this show, and I don't know how you read those notes.
Did you shower?
Did I shower?
Brian, how are you?
Good.
How do you introduce yourself?
My name's Brian. What's yours?
Yeah, Corey. What do you do?
Well, I'm a farmer/YouTuber now, I guess.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Farmer/YouTuber. I don't know if we've had anybody actually say they're a YouTuber when we've asked them to introduce themselves.
I don't like to admit that, but someone called me a YouTuber and not a farmer one time, and I was like, I don't like that at all.
Is it very far off? Maybe you make more money on YouTubing than farming.
Possibly.
Some years, probably. That's why we started this Farm for Fun show, because we're not always farming for profit in agriculture. Sometimes you just got to have fun.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So this is a dual show. Brian's got a podcast as well.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your podcast, and then you introduce us to your audience.
Yeah, so my podcast is called the Working Words Podcast. Started off just me and a friend. Through social media, I was starting to get a lot of people coming through that were, we usually end up sitting around drinking beer after we got done doing whatever we were doing for the day and bullshit and stuff. And I was like, can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, man, I'd really like to just record some of these. So I have one buddy who talks a lot, and he doesn't know anything about agriculture. Like, he's not in ag. So I was like, hey, Monroe, you want to host a podcast with me? Because every now and then I go brain dead and you never shut up, so this would be great.
Yeah.
And so it does kind of offer a unique perspective, because he's from a construction world. He's a builder. And, we don't have just ag guests. Like, we'll have people from his world and whatnot. And, yeah, I like it pretty well. Works out
What's
pretty
he
good.
do?
He's
Contractor.
Yep.
Nice.
So like construction, building houses, and things like that?
Yep.
Well, there you go. Why don't you introduce us to your guest, and then we'll kick off a dual show.
So, yeah, we're sitting here with the Farm for Profit guys at the 2023 National Farm Machinery Show. We got Tanner and Corey. There we go.
The other guy, yeah. Hey.
Yep. So, guys, how many podcasts have you done now? We're on day 2.
Ooh. We had 5 yesterday.
5
so
yesterday.
This will be our 6th one.
I think we're up to almost 260 that have been released.
Yeah.
You guys'
the
voices
public.
are holding up well for doing 5 yesterday. Let's say I've got a pocket full of cough drops.
Yep. Absolutely. Got a bag full of cough drops.
I don't think we ever have. Maybe Tanner has a little bit of problem with talking too much sometimes and losing the voice, but not.
All the time.
Yeah.
I don't even like going. I like going to bars, but I don't like going to bars to where I got to shout over the music.
I hate that. Like, everybody around here wants to go to that stupid PBR bar. Like, it is so loud, you can't even. You have to pay to buy a freaking booth to sit in. Like, that pisses me off. Like,
Emma, this is totally a generational thing, because she loved it. Didn't you love being there? I mean,
oh, they have dancing. Who gives a shit?
They got to mop the floor every 2 minutes is what she said. No, I think our bar is where the one we went to last night, where you could sit down.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about it. You could have a conversation across
Yeah.
the table and
A
still
hole
heal
in
each
the
other.
wall. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm much more that atmosphere. Like, if I want to have a conversation, I don't want to have to yell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is you're going to have a rough morning getting started here.
I am.
You want some water?
I got some right here. I probably should.
You want some ibuprofen?
I need an IV. That'd be.
So for our listeners, why don't you tell them a little bit more about the farm that you've got going on? Is it you? Do you have any kids involved, family involved? How's that look?
Yeah, so I farm with my father. He's 72 years old. He's farmed all his life. Then my brother, he is 44. He started farming in 2019, so he not really farmed before then. Before then, it was just me and Dad. We were kind of definitely needed some help. We were overextended. We farmed 3,500 acres, and at that time, it was me and Dad full time, and my uncle would do some trucking for us.
Yeah.
So we were definitely needing some help. He wasn't liking his job that he had, so now he's full time partner with us on the farm. So yeah, we raise corn, soybeans, and wheat, and we do double cropping. I thought that was pretty normal. And then when I started YouTubing, people were like, "What the hell's double crops?" Yeah.
You get paid twice in a year.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
you waste more time.
Right. So what's the typical double crop? Are you rye followed by beans, or what
No,
do you?
see? This I didn't even know that would be a question. Wheat, winter wheat, and then soybeans thereafter.
Okay.
Have you ever looked into the polycropping, or what would you call that? What does Jason Mock call it?
Intercropping?
Intercropping.
Where
Where
they-
you got grow the
Relay
wheat-
cropping. He
Relay
calls it
cropping.
relay
So
crop.
you have the
So
wheat
broadcasting wheat or beans.
and then beans right next to it.
So to do that, is he planting the beans or is
So
he broadcasting?
he's planting the wheat behind a liquid manure tank. So the wheat comes down off a splash plate and creates like a 10 or 12 inch wide path of wheat, and then skips where that manure shank goes. So it leaves about a 15 inch gap.
Of no wheat.
And then he'll come back in with a planter and he'll plant beans
In
in
between.
between the path of wheat.
For what purpose?
So then he combines the wheat off. The beans already got a head start.
When's he planting this wheat?
Will
The
be
fall.
fall manure
Oh, so
application.
it's a winter wheat. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not-
it's winter wheat.
Didn't know if you meant spring wheat or something.
Yep.
So what kind of wheat's he raising, like bushel wise?
Oh,
So that's what gets sacrificed is the wheat. I think. What's a typical wheat yield?
So I think we're averaging around 90 to 95.
So he one of his that I watched several years ago, he was getting like 65
Okay.
bushel wheat, but then since he got the beans started earlier, they were going like 100,
Okay.
90 to 100, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yep.
so that's his payoff, but
Gotcha.
it's kind of still
Where?
double cropping.
What part of the world is that?
Indiana,
Southern Indiana or northern?
I think he's northern.
South of 70 or north of 70? That's the question.
I can look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So,
It's-
but it's
absolutely.
very interesting. His mind is always going. I'd love to be in it for like an hour, and that's probably all I could take because
Yeah,
it's just always going. But he has these things called flexi fingers that he puts on like the platform, and it pushes the beans down so they don't get cut off when he's harvesting.
Okay.
Yeah. And this whole theory is this wheat's in like this 12-inch row or whatever, and then it grows up and suckers, and then like so you don't really lose that much. I don't know. It's just really, really interesting. He's always thinking.
We're planting 10-inch wheat now, so I guess we could
10-inch?
could try to interseed something
Yeah.
in there. But
But then there's some guys that they just cut the tops of the beans off, and beans kind of like to be beat up a little bit, and
they're kind of kinky like that.
yeah, exactly. Kind of like that bar we went to last night.
Did you call it the pegging hole or something like that?
Four pegs.
pegs.
There was nothing kinky about it, but they had good bourbon. I will say that, which I'm still tasting.
That's why you're not feeling good.
He's from Gaston, Indiana, and it looks like it's north of 28. I don't see a 70.
So 70.
North of Muncie.
Muncie, Indiana, I think
So
is what
he's
he
north,
claims.
northern Indiana then?
Yeah.
Looks like it.
I didn't even know they double cropped up there.
Maybe that's why he's doing that. I don't
Okay.
think they do. Like maybe he's so far north that.
Oh, so
that's-
he's doing it to get those beans established before,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of mitigating that frost risk.
So it's
Yep.
allowing him to double
okay,
crop.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, kind of a relay transaction there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes my John Deere salesman drinking a Michelob at 8:30 in the morning.
Holy
I
cow!
love that.
That would probably be the best thing for me.
That would be your
actually.
solution.
Yeah.
Yes. Typically, we do have beers when we do these episodes.
That's same.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do a podcast without a beer, but
So
when
where are you recording at down here? Are you set up at the show?
wherever I can get a spot. So I have a road board at home, but I bought I messaged you about these headsets, so I bought a couple sets of those, and then I think it's a PodTrack P4.
Okay.
It's a really small mixing board. Fits in a backpack. Fit in my pocket. So
Yep.
just kind of quick and mobile. And I realized that I like doing these podcasts. Like I enjoy talking to people.
Yeah.
Like we were saying off camera, and I rarely get people to Ohio like as frequently as I'd like to. So it's like, shit, I see everybody at the farm show. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where'd you set up yesterday? Were you all over the place, or were you just at Unverfirth?
Unverfirth. So I did a meet and greet at Unverfirth. They had a little stage set up, a platform. It's pretty handy because no one's seen us. So we just went up there, hit out for a little bit. I had Quick Dick McDick on.
Nice.
So if you guys haven't, you need to get him on there.
We've had him on, and I was emailing him last night telling him he needs to come by and see us.
He's freaking hilarious.
Oh,
I
love
that
the guy.
And then Iowan farmer, Ben Van Ronkel.
Oh, yeah. I know Ben. Yep.
Yeah.
He was at the Naked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Those would be good. Yeah, those would be good interviews.
I want to meet Quick Dick because we had him on virtually.
Yeah.
On our podcast.
Well, I've heard him on a couple of virtuals. It's like, man, I haven't seen him on one yet. And
Yeah.
That dude, he would be. I told him, I was like, why don't you have a podcast? Because that was the easiest interview I've ever done.
Yeah.
I put a topic in his mind, and he just went.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, he never shut up, which was great. Made for good content, and it was usually funny if you could slow him down enough to hear what he's saying.
There's somebody today that we got a heads up that we need to slow down. I can't remember which one of these interviews coming up. But
Field Rose?
we may have to.
Oh, is he in town?
He's in town. Yeah, he's coming up, stopping by for a podcast today.
Is it Randy or is it the
Randy.
brother?
It's Randy.
Randy's coming.
Yeah, Jim stayed home.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
That's gonna be wild. That'd be wild.
There's Snarkosaurus.
So as we're watching your YouTube videos, there's something really cool that I had seen, and I didn't know if you came up with the idea or somebody gave it to you, but you've got, at least in one of your tractors, a mat on the floor for your kids to farm on while you're actually farming.
Yeah, so we ordered a, it's kind of a yellowfin, a Challenger. I don't even think they make them anymore, but and it came with no floor mat. And Dad loves carpet. Personally, I hate having carpet in a tractor because it's always covered in mud. Like that one you're talking about now, they couldn't play on if they wanted to because it's all brown. But he's like, I'm going to put a carpet in. I was like, well, shit, my son has 3 of these things laying around, so I just took it in there and fit it in there. And yeah.
Because it's like a street map or
Yeah.
a road map or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like a city carpet or whatever they call it, play carpet thing. Yeah,
Did he ever play on it? Did you get him?
like twice, and then we had to get out of the tractor, and then it was dirty. So
Did you see you can get those maps of like aerial images of your actual farm now?
And like print him on a rug or something,
and
right?
then the kids, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Would have liked
carpet
that.
farming's a different scene than it was back in the day.
It was. Well, did you see the one out in the hallway
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there? My Lord.
Yeah, I tore that thing up in no time as a kid.
I had a farm table which was a U shape of plywood, and then my mom had painted roads and fields on it so I could drive around that. And I spent hours of my life, probably a year if you combine all the hours of my life, just driving little toy tractors all around this U-shaped farm table.
So Mom and Dad had some kind of rug in the main room of our house, and I don't know how to describe how this rug was constructed, but it looked like cornrows in my mind. Like it was, I don't know, it kind of looked like cornrows,
Yeah,
like in your hair, but on a rug.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it was perfect. My combine fit right through there. Oh yeah,
Very cool.
Hours of carpet farming.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just practice for the real thing.
yep,
It is.
But yeah, I was curious how dirty that mat would get.
very
Because some people, you see the TikToks and all that of immaculate cabs. They just put their boots, they take them off at the edge of the door, and I've always wondered how practical that is. Because every time I'm running a grain carter doing something like that, I'm in and out of the tractor so much, I'd have to have slip-off boots.
First year that I ran that tractor, I ran it on our Case Bean planter, and I don't know if you guys have any affiliation with them. I'm gonna talk shit
No,
about it now.
you can.
So we had a Case 2140 bean splitter planter, and I got in and out so many days. That thing was trashed after the first day. I mean, just
You're in and out because of the planter?
yeah, not a good experience. Yeah. We had a 1240 before that. Got on great with it for like 7 years. Planter was wore out, but it had done its purpose, and the upgraded version was kind of a downgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yep.
That's
so,
annoying.
are both of you guys from a farming background then?
Yes.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farrow to finish hog farm in northwest Iowa, and family farrowed until 2016, and now just custom finish hogs and have a little bit of row crop ground. But Mom and Dad are doing that. I by day am an ag banker and a podcaster by night. Can't call myself a YouTuber, but
Was your
Kind of.
podcast on YouTube?
it is.
Then why can't you?
That's fair. And then I married into a fat cattle feedlot and row crop operation in central Iowa.
Okay. So are you living in central Iowa now then?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So he's not living where he grew up. I'm living where I grew up, in the next town over, basically. And I farm corn, soybeans, and wean to finish hogs. got into the hogs in 2013. That was my ticket back to the farm.
So what's worth more now, the hogs or the manure?
Manure, definitely manure.
I don't think people realize that.
I did the calculation last year because I wanted to know because of how high inputs had got.
Right.
So, and we don't put a full shot of manure like when we're talking for our nitrogen, right? Like we supplement, we leave some off so we can supplement. For $120 an acre in application fee, we were putting about $450 worth of commercial equivalent fertilizer out on that field. Not even a full shot.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's nuts. But I was breaking it down like the sulfur and, you get your micronutrients and all that. So pretty important. Wish I could have it on all the acres.
So I have a neighbor. I know nothing about hogs. I mean, he's the only hog barn in our area. But he put that hog barn up probably 10 years ago when crops had kind of went to shit.
Yep.
For that reason. And then he put another one up right after that. But same deal. He hauls in chicken manure now because he doesn't have enough to cover all his acres.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, chicken litter just caught on in our area the last couple of years.
Problem for us is it's so far by the time you pay to truck it, you're actually probably more expensive than just putting on potash or DAP.
Yeah. It's absolutely hilarious, though, because this fall they started spreading as soon as the combines got in the field. And, they had stockpiled at the fields. And the next town over, like their Facebook page was just losing their mind because it was like stagnant wind and it wouldn't leave for like 4 days. And they were like, I can't even go outside and smoke a cigarette.
Well, I mean, they could say that, but so I live an hour from Columbus, and they try to get rid of human shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I was going to Columbus the other day, and I was like, man, that is an odor. Someone's cleaning out a barn somewhere, and then nope, it was the city.
Right.
City hauling shit to fields.
Everybody poops.
Yeah,
it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
It doesn't just disappear, correct. No
No.
matter how big you think those lagoon ponds are or whatever you've got for a treatment plant,
Yeah.
they're still a byproduct.
And the few days of inconvenience of a smell is actually a way better fertilizer source.
Well, it's better than
synthetic
the alternative. I mean,
right?
a lot of times that stuff ends up in streams and rivers, and it's not us doing it. It's actually municipalities doing it. So,
Yeah.
That's kind of what's funny. So allegedly, I gotta say that so we don't get sued. But the Des Moines Waterworks they sued a bunch of counties or some counties,
watersheds,
watersheds and stuff because they had to pay X amount more to treat the water because they get their water out of the Des Moines River. They turn around and dump it right back into the river for the next town down.
similar. So Lake Erie watershed's a huge deal in northwestern Ohio. It doesn't affect me yet, but so that Underforth Raptor strip till bar is kind of a byproduct of that. Underforth is based in northwest Ohio. I don't think you're allowed to spread granular fertilizer anymore in that area. So strip till is really taken off and different ways to incorporate. But the city of Dayton is kind of who sparked that. And, whenever they need to, they just – because Lake Erie's getting algae blooms was the thing, and it was polluting the lake. Well, every time they need to, they just open the gates and dump the shit right into the lake.
Yep.
Right.
If we say Underforth 3 more times, I think we could send them a bill.
That's right.
I never knew how to say that name. Where did that name come from? Is it like their last name?
Yeah, it's family owned.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
So funny story about the first time I met them. I mean, I have a working relationship with them now. I mean, that's who I was staying with last night. Get along great with those guys. The first Underforth I ever met was actually a sales rep for AGCO. I didn't know his last name. And my AGCO salesman walk into the dealer, and he's like, hey, Brian, this is Craig. He'll probably get you in an Underforth cart. And I was like, we don't need any of that shit. We got a J&M cart. He goes, his last name's Underforth. Like, I retract statement.
Kind of like I intentionally knew that you had a Gleaner combine, and we're sitting right next here recording to the AGCO booth where they're celebrating 100 years of Gleaner. Now, we can't say that again because if we talk about that, we'll have to send them a bill for how many times we've said their name. But I tell you what, they are throwing one heck of a party all day over there.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
They've stepped their game up. Big old video board.
I'd say the last few years they've probably had one of the nicer booths of like the big 3 manufacturers.
Sure.
It seems like. I thought it was kind of comical that John Deere has a booth this year that has a combine on it. It's the first year John Deere's not the one putting the booth on. Like
it's their dealers. Yeah, it's their local dealers.
That's probably the first S combine that's ever been over here, and it's an X9.
Yeah. You run 3, or you've had 3 different combines on your farm, but you run two each fall, correct?
Yeah. So last year we had a Fendt for a few hours because, oddly enough, our Gleaner broke down. had a transmission go on it, so we had a loaner Fendt combine.
How'd you like that? How'd you like running that?
So we had a 7T, and it did great. Like as far as loss, I benchmark everything to a Claas. Like in my opinion, there is no combine that will outperform a Claas in its class. So, like we have a Class 7 Claas, and that combine was just very close.
Okay.
From a loss standpoint, I don't know if it would have the throughput maybe, but our Claas is also 8 years old.
Yep.
So
Tanner's in-laws run a Claas.
do what?
Tanner's in-laws run a Claas.
Yeah.
Is it a green one or a yellow one?
Yellow.
Yellow. Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully, looking to upgrade to a green one.
I'd really, like if I was buying one machine, I think you'd be hard pressed to do better than an 86 or 8700.
I mean, we can't keep it away.
Yeah.
So the capacity is far more than we need.
Right.
But when we can
So
go,
everyone says that, and so our Gleaner, we knew that it was going to have less capacity when we bought. The whole reason we bought the Gleaner was one, it was a lot cheaper, like $100,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
But also our Clauses are great, but they're expensive to own. So I got to where we were doing $30,000 repairs every year, and that was getting kind of annoying. And but we kept telling ourselves, well, we can't keep grain away now, so it isn't going to matter. Well, the last 2 years we've had the best corn crop we've ever had, and we do have to run slower. Well, I guess what I'm saying is we can't keep it away, but there's times where I'd really like to go fast.
Sure.
To fill the trucks and
Yeah.
get the hell out of there and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'd rather have the capacity and not need it.
isn't another reason you can have the rotor out in 5 minutes?
Some people say you can. I guarantee you this, there's not much I can do in 5 minutes. Everyone keeps telling me it's a simple combine. I pop that panel, and there's still this big-ass computer board around the side. I'm like, well, I can't do much on this machine, just like I can't do much on that machine or that machine.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So the newer Gleaners, they don't have the auger doesn't come out from.
No, it does.
It still comes
It's
out down
still
low.
a T-Rex auger.
Is it really?
So that auger, so when I was growing up, we were all John Deere when I was a kid, and I made fun of a Gleaner just like every other kid that's never ran one. And I was really apprehensive of that auger because it does look stupid when you first see it. But that auger is extremely quiet, and it's faster than our Claas. It's 4 bushel in a second unload.
Wow.
So,
Why is that?
Why is it quiet or why is it
Why
faster?
is it faster? Yeah.
There's not 2 augers.
It's
There's
not
only
lifting
one
up.
auger. So think of like a single auger grain cart versus a dual auger grain cart.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, Corey gets to run the Bush Light combine.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you that. I knew one of
Yeah.
you guys had a combine wrapped in a Bush Light wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
So where's the Bush Lights?
Believe me, these shows that's typically what we do. We sit here, we crack open a Bush Light, we all go Bush.
yeah. I actually we're sponsored by Bush Light actually.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to ask if you were sponsored by them or if you just took it upon yourself for the extreme love of Bush Light to wrap
No,
your
I
combine.
mean, yeah. Yesterday it kind of sucked because they ran out of Bush Light here at the show. Then they ran out of Coors Light. So then we had to drink Miller Lite.
Yeah, we. It's like one of those where you don't want to get caught walking around.
Someone came up to us and be like, "I won't tell on you."
So what is what is your beer of choice that tastes the most like Bush?
Like if Bush
Really?
isn't available,
Yeah.
probably like a Mick Ultra. Or
So that's that's kind of my thought.
Coors Light. I like Coors. It's fine.
But it doesn't taste just like a Bush
Coors
Light
is,
either.
Coors is made with corn.
Yeah.
Bush Light's made with corn.
Yeah.
Bud Light's made with rice. Budweiser's rice.
What's Mick? Is Mick corn?
I would assume, but I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, those are my 3 beers of choice as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We got to the point to where, to keep content exciting, we started mixing random crap with our Bush Light.
Completely unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary, 100% just for the entertainment value. But we found some stuff that's really pretty good.
Ketchup?
We have not done ketchup. We did hot sauce.
You should you should try the ketchup.
Ketchup
Are you
might
being
be
serious?
okay. It would be like a red beer, like Quick Dick
Okay.
McDick told
Yeah,
us.
it's
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Okay, so we haven't done ketchup yet, but we
Neither have I. I'm just trying to see you guys
Oh, are you
drink
really?
ketchup and beer.
we might do that. I mean, we did
terrible.
eggnog around the holidays.
Eggnog was good with it.
Delicious. We've done chocolate milk. That was also really good.
Ice cream. in it.
Orange juice. Oh, yeah, the ice cream was really good.
It's like a float.
Yeah.
I'll just have to take your word for it.
No, you got to try some of these things. Hopefully some of your listeners try
It's
it. I
funny
mean,
because some of our listeners do try it with us, and
You guys are going to have to make a drink book.
we should.
Yeah.
a recipe book.
A recipe book of
Like
Bush
Bush-
Light cocktails.
Fresh Bush Light, 12-ounce can.
So you guys have 2 podcasts, is that right? It's all under the same hosting or same.
Yeah, we run 2 different formats. So, like the format that we're on right now is called our Farm for Fun, to where we're focusing on you,
Okay.
talking about us, talking about you, getting your story, and then we have a profit format where we pick a topic or a trend or something that is a little bit more business-like,
Yep.
and then we discuss that at length. So we try to find an expert. We talk and focus on them and their professional background, but really we're focusing on whether it's a power chip or an app that can help you, or
Taxes.
what it's like for tax season, right? So we try to educate the listeners on a Monday, and then entertain them on a Thursday, and then opposite of that, still trying to be entertaining while we educate you, and still educate you while we're being entertaining. So
okay.
it's a crisscross.
I don't know if it's right or wrong.
But both of those formats are all under the one.
All under Farm for Profit.
Farm4profit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the way that started was Tanner and our other co-host David, who's showing cattle right now. They started this in David's basement in 2019.
Yeah.
Just
kind of sounds dirty when you say it like that.
Yeah, that pegs. They started just the Farm for Profit show, so they were just helping their customers. Dave's a realtor and auctioneer. Tanner's an ag banker.
Okay.
And so they just wanted to bring value to their customers. Well, I was listening. It was every other week.
They bring you on board for the Busch Light sponsor?
No, not quite. And so, it was 2020, right? Everyone's like not doing anything, COVID. And they're putting out a show every 2 weeks. And then on the off weeks, they're doing like a top 10 list, like top 10 field meals, top 10, I don't know, boosts.
Most attractive actresses. Oh,
Yeah.
no, we didn't do that. That was
But top 10 something to do with ag. And it was just like a phoned in, like they'd pull something out of like successful farming. And it was a 10-minute deal, like a David Letterman top 10 list almost.
Yeah.
And I said, that off week sucks. Right? I love your show.
Yeah.
And I said, we should try. I love like Pat McAfee, Joe Rogan, like those kind of like longer form, fun,
Yep.
laid back podcasts. I was like, no ag has that.
Right.
And that's what I kind of wanted to do. Now, we probably don't cuss as much as we could or, like that, but we keep it pretty light. But, we started the fun show.
Yeah, when I started doing our podcast, people were like, well, how long does it need to be? I'm like, so we shut up. I don't know. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
put a cap on it, but.
Do you target length, or how long is your average show?
Longer than it should be, probably.
Yeah.
Probably close to 2 hours.
Really?
I did one with my father, and I knew I wanted to do this podcast as soon as I started the podcast, but I wanted him to sit down and go over the history of our family farm.
Very cool.
So we went back. He's 72, so we started with how the farm looked in 1950,
right.
progressing all the way through how the farm had grown, and that one was 3.5 hours. I put that on my YouTube channel, my Brian's Farm Videos YouTube channel, which I don't usually do because I have a channel for the podcast.
Yep.
I was like, this is the history of the farm. These people are probably going to, I figured, this probably ain't going to do, it's going to be the bottom 10 out of 10 when, they rank it.
Yeah.
That video took off. It's, I think, 120-some thousand views now. And
Really?
a 3.5 hour show, and people are watching, like, on average, a third of it.
Really?
Which kind of shocked me. I didn't think anyone would want to watch a 3.5 hour podcast.
Right. Yeah, we try to keep ours under an hour, or right about at an hour. And mainly that's just due to the scope of we do 2 a week.
Right.
And if we take 3 hours to do a show, that's 6 hours a week just to produce that content.
Yeah.
Sometimes it hurts, right? Like there's some people I just want to keep talking to. Like when we were with Quick Dick, how long was that show?
Yeah, that was almost an hour and 50 minutes.
And we could have kept going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did one with him yesterday and trying to be cognizant of his time and everything, but we went through an hour pretty quick, and I was like,
I think we asked him like 6 times while we were recording, like, are you sure you're good? Are you sure you're still good? You don't have anywhere else to be? And he said, keep going. Just keep going. But it also gives us the opportunity to have the same guest on multiple times. Like we've had Tony Reed on 4 times.
Yep.
But either you sit there and you talk for 4 hours with somebody, or maybe you talk to them every 6 months.
Yeah. Well, I know trying to do a long podcast, like things I've noticed, trying to do like a 2-3 hour podcast where you're going over someone's whole life, you forget a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And, I could see where doing it in shorter intervals would probably be a lot more beneficial.
So do you listen to other podcasts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking. That's why I don't like going to bars to play music, because I don't listen to any of it anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It all sucks. So, I usually just listen to podcasts.
So besides Farm for Profit, what's your favorite podcast to listen
So I
to?
listen to one called Cleared Hot a lot. It's a former military guy who does jiu-jitsu and parachutes. It has nothing to do with agriculture.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting. And then I used to listen to Off the Husk, but I don't know what happened to Zach and Randy. They've kind of not posted in a long
Busy.
time.
Sounds like it's kids. Like they're kids involved in sports and hockey, and I guess hockey is a
I think
sport.
you're in the same boat with a lot of people. Randy was at the Naked Expo with us, and everyone kept coming up to him. And,
Oh, yeah.
when's the next one come on?
Well, those two play off of each other so well.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was entertaining as crap.
And they're good people.
Yeah.
I mean, That's the fun part about the podcast is, we've watched your YouTube videos. We think we know who you are, but when you get to meet them and have a conversation for an hour, you really get to dive in, and then there's usually follow-up after that.
Yeah.
Just end up being good people. There's some that aren't. Probably won't say who they are, but just...
Let's say you've done 260, you've had to find some fake ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple shows don't
I
make
would
it.
say 95+% are good people.
That's what I tell people, because they'll always ask. I mean, I've got to meet a lot of different influencers or YouTubers, however you want to phrase it, in agriculture. People are like, what are they like in real person? And like you say, 95% of them are the same person.
Yeah,
and they're just another farmer.
I think, we probably get asked that about Zach Johnson probably the most. What's he like in person? And it's like, he's a regular dude.
Yeah. Tall, goofy bastard.
He's a regular dude. He talks about dude things. It's pretty cool. Love having beer with him.
So another thing, we like to have Busch Light while we're doing our podcast, but we also kind of like to mix it up, and we try to talk a lot about farming, a lot about your background, what you're involved in. And then we like to just kind of do something completely off the wall to have fun, and we come up with some questions. So we're gonna quiz you here.
Okay.
Get your opinion on a couple of things. So, for example, which came first, the orange or the color?
Oh.
So was the color named orange because it was the color of an orange? Or did they name an orange because it was the color
This is
orange?
some insightful shit here.
It's deep. It's way too deep.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the color came first.
Corey?
I don't know. That's too deep for this early in the morning.
The good thing is that I don't have the answer, so I can't
I'll
tell you
just
if you
say
got it
the
wrong.
orange came first then. I'm just to be opposite.
The color or the fruit?
The fruit.
Okay.
Oh, so I have the pleasure of just taking my girls to Disneyland, Disney World, whatever the Florida one is. I can't remember. We got to go to Disney.
Oh, yeah.
So this next question is coming out of Disney. Why is Goofy, because you know the Disney characters.
Oh, yeah. I've got 3 kids. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So why is Goofy considered a person?
But Pluto isn't?
But they're both dogs.
Pisses me off.
All right.
I wanted to ask him, too.
This is too deep, man.
Deep? What? That's not deep. That's a kid's cartoon.
I don't get to watch much Disney stuff
I've been
anymore.
wondering the answer to that question for 30 years, though.
We need someone, either your listeners or our listeners, or those that are becoming both of our listeners, to write in and tell us.
Exactly.
Why? Why can't Pluto?
Dig up old Walt and ask him.
Yeah, why can't Pluto talk? Why has he got to bark?
Yeah, makes no sense.
Goofy walks on 2 feet. Did you find one you liked?
For people who are deaf, what do the voices in their head sound like? So they're deaf from birth?
Yeah.
Born deaf. It's like, holy cow, yeah, because they can read, right?
Sure, they're not blind.
But they've never heard a voice.
It's true. My brother-in-law's deaf, so
Text him.
You should, yeah.
What does this sound like in your head?
But then what do you do? What would the description be back? I mean,
I don't know.
white noise? Is it? I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty insightful one.
Do you think we have any, you can't even call it a listener, do you think we have any deaf watchers? Like they watch us on YouTube and watch the subcategories?
I don't know.
I'm sure.
I'd like some. So if you are, write us. That would be kind of cool.
So the last one we'll play with you here is it's raining today down at the show.
Right.
But I've always been curious as a weatherman, and I should ask my brother-in-law this. When does it go from being partly sunny to being partly cloudy? Is it an amount? Is there a percentage? Like, we just got 32% cloud cover.
Partial cloudy. Yeah,
Now we're partly cloudy.
32.
50%. Like if it's more than 50% clouds, it's partly cloudy. If it's more than 50% sun
It's
with
partly
clouds,
sunny.
it's partly sunny.
So, see, they can get kind of dumb and in the weeds.
But then how do
some
you
of them
measure
sit there
that?
and you go, that's true. How do you measure that? You take a box of
picture?
your fingers and
I could see after a few of those cocktails you guys were talking about mixing up, that'd be some some brain stumpers there.
We got offered THC water the other day. I didn't know there was such a thing. That would get you some deep conversation.
Not like hemp
true.
water, like.
No, he
THC
was like,
water.
yeah, it's actually THC and it's actually strong.
So is it the bong water? Like what?
Exactly. That was at a buddy's place, and we were doing a podcast in St. Louis, and he offered us that, and it's like, well, we got another 4 hours to drive, so we better not.
I've never heard of that.
I never had it either. I mean, I know that they put that stuff in everything now, but
Right. Yep. Do you guys see much of that in your area? Not THC, but I mean, like, is it hemp in it?
it's not legal in Iowa.
Hemp
Or
isn't?
it's medicinal.
No, I mean, is there much hemp crop in Iowa?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Seemed
I
like-
actually had aronia berries, and I sold the planter to a hemp farmer in northern Wisconsin.
Seemed like when corn was kind of in the tank, there was a lot of people trying it, but I haven't heard much about it since corn went above $4.
I think what they ran into was like they can saturate the market so fast, and it's such a large quantity of material.
Yeah.
Like you have to be by the plant.
Yeah.
Right.
I know, so pretty close to Kentucky in tobacco country.
Yep.
Where you go an hour south of us and you start seeing tobacco fields.
Yep.
And a lot of people there were trying it when it first, because I mean, it's a very similar process, I guess.
Yep.
And several of them got burnt pretty good. Like plants went out of business, but they were contracted to that plant kind of deal.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah,
When it's not regulated, not backed, not
Insurable.
insured. Yeah.
yep.
I grew some tobacco in Iowa last year.
How'd that go?
Like out of 30 seeds, 2 came.
Yeah,
Very
that's
hard to
tough.
grow.
Because you tried cotton too, right?
Yes.
Did you
I
get
tried-
your government contract?
I should. I'm a cotton grower and I'm a tobacco grower.
I had a friend of mine tried it in Western Ohio. Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
Yeah. My cotton I put by my sweet corn, which had pre-herbicide on it.
Yeah.
Came up and died. Right? Like, I didn't realize. After the fact, like, duh, why wouldn't I? I'm a farmer. Why wouldn't I know that? But I planted some when I was taking care of my buddy's dog in their garden secretly, and I forgot about it. And then he sent me a snap later in the year of this big plant with all these bowls on it.
Did they ever bloom?
No.
But
No.
they need a lot more heat units, don't they?
Yeah, but it did put bowls on, and it basically the cotton got rotten inside the
okay.
bowls, right? Well, and I didn't have what I probably needed to do was talking to cotton growers. I need to spray it with like a desiccant, like to kill it, right? Because the cotton will keep growing.
Okay. I
It's
didn't
a
know
tree.
It's a tree.
Yeah.
So it will keep growing. So if it doesn't get told that it needs to die and open its bowls,
that. I feel like the fielder has got to be the
So we're
one
gonna-
to talk to.
yeah,
We
we'll
will have to
talk to
ask
him about that today.
That's exactly right.
Although I don't know if Randy knows much about that side or if it's Jim that does that.
How's he gonna fall down in here?
Well, easily. I assume it's just literally going to walk and trip. Man trips over his own feet.
I wonder how many bruises that dude comes home with. 'Cause
That would be the hard part here. Everything's a concrete
And some
floor.
of them you can tell, like,
That hurt.
even though he meant to do it, it probably hurt.
Yeah, that's a trademark I don't think I'd want to adopt.
But it's hilarious, his
Oh, yeah.
montages that he...
Oh yeah.
Have you met him before?
I have not. We've talked on Instagram a few times. We both deal with Farm Focus, but I've never actually met him. You guys ought to get Ben on sometime.
We talked to him at the FPN conference. We were hanging out with Zach and them, and we would love to get him to do some of our swag.
Oh yeah, it's
Right?
a great relationship. I mean,
We tried swag ourselves. It's
Same.
a losing game for
I
us.
ended up with a closet full of mediums that I never sold, or smalls.
Hey, Tanner's a medium.
Yeah, I'll take all your mediums. I'll just start wearing Brian's farming videos.
He's just a little guy.
But speaking of that, obviously you started your YouTube probably just out of fun, wanting to tell your story, but
Yep.
how's it changed your life? What's it provided you?
I mean, there's definitely a monetary benefit. And I don't know why some people get mad when they hear that. I mean, they watch Ben Affleck or whoever on a movie, and
Yeah,
he's
they get
making
paid.
millions of dollars. I mean, it's financially, it's been a pretty big impact. I mean, it's helped a lot. It's made my wife and I a lot more comfortable.
It's your side gig.
It's the only hobby I've ever had that paid.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, I bought a $500, what was that thing, a Canon, it's a little point-and-shoot Canon camera,
Yep.
GX7. And I was like, hopefully I can pay for that camera one day. And I mean, I paid for that really quickly, and then I was like, there might be something to this, like
Right.
from a monetary standpoint. So
Right.
When did you start the
2018.
2018?
Yeah. So when I started, none of the big channels had hit 100,000 yet. So I kind of got in there when everything started taking off, because that year I think Zach, Welkers, How Farms Work, they all hit 100,000 and just went, and I just tried to ride their coattails.
Yeah.
Right with them. Didn't quite work out. I fell off somewhere.
So you started 2018. How long do you think it took to get monetized?
So the weird thing, I'm sure you guys experience this too, there's no playbook for YouTube. And you can't call anyone at Google, and their email system sucks, like as far as getting support. So I found out in a YouTube, I had to look up how to edit and upload a YouTube video, 'cause I had no idea.
Yep.
And
You had to watch a YouTube, how to YouTube?
yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's how I started the podcast, is I was listening to podcasts about starting podcasts.
I was not a social, never used Facebook, or I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have a Twitter, so very dumb when it came to that stuff. But in that research, I figured out you needed 4,000 hours of watched content and 1,000 subscribers. So I got that, and I was like, okay, checks are going to start coming. And I thought I'd get a check in the mail like next week. And I posted 30 videos that should have been monetized that weren't, because I didn't know I hadn't had to apply. So I was monetized by November of 2018.
Oh, wow.
So I think I really leaned into it around September.
Quick Dick McDick.
Hey, put the headset on. Get in here and sit down. Come on over.
What's going on, man?
We got to do this again?
I think there's a chair right there.
Yeah, pull it.
What's happening, boys?
Hey,
Mr. Quick Dick McDick.
Easy on the mister.
I know.
Yeah, mister, dude, what's going on here?
This is
the
awesome.
place to be.
Hey, yeah, it seems to be.
This is why it's cool to do these farm shows, because random people like you just pop in.
Very random.
We heard you guys just did a show.
Yeah, we sat down and chewed the fat a little bit, as they call it.
Yeah?
Shot the shit.
Don't have a beer for you this time.
Yeah, I've been on coffee for way too long, trying to shake last night off a little bit kind of thing. Yeah. How's the show for you guys so far?
We're doing the same thing. This morning's a little slow.
Yeah?
We're,
You got to rehydrate before you can dehydrate.
Yeah, that happens. It really does.
Beer
But
might help.
Show's
a red
been great.
beer.
Yeah,
Or
what's that?
a red beer. What'd you call it?
Bloody beer?
A bloody beer. What was your...
Oh, no, it's a belly Band-Aid.
A belly bandit.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
That's
what you got to get.
That's
You
what
guys
we-
call them bloody beers?
Oh, like a red beer, like a little...
Oh, but you
tomato
guys call
juice.
Caesar's Bloody Marys down
Yes.
here.
Yeah,
kinda
I thought
thing,
that
right?
was-
Yeah, so
I
that's
thought-
where it comes from. Yeah, it
I
makes
always
sense.
thought tomato juice and a beer was a Bloody Mary.
Nope. No, Bloody Mary's got vodka in it.
Well, that's how we make Bloody Marys in Southern Ohio. It's tomato juice and
Bunch of
Busch Light.
wussies.
We are learning things today. Hey?
I think it's just you guys aren't used to the level of class we bring to the table.
How's the show been for you guys?
It's been really good.
Very good.
We had really good content yesterday. Had 5 really great guests on. We're starting off with a good show today. You popped in, makes it even better.
If I would have known you were going to be down here, I would have waited to have you on the podcast in person rather than virtual,
What are
even
the-
though it was awesome.
Yeah, what are the chances? Say, but it's well, usually I'm way more comfortable when I'm in my basement drinking beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actually, you know what? As long as I'm drinking beer anywhere, I'm pretty comfortable. I think we proved that yesterday. Yeah. So
What are you doing down here? You working for some people?
I'm down here. No, I'm not working in the U.S. at all. No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Got it. It's all cash. No.
I'm actually down here with Mandaco. They got the rollers set up over in the West Hall there or whatever. So yeah, we've been running their gear for quite a while, and it's pretty good stuff. So I figured to come down, and apparently there's a few people that know who Quick Dick is down here too. It's been all right. Yeah, I met a few people, and
Did you throw any toonies last night?
I did not. No, yeah, I should have brought a couple of rolls down here with me. You guys got $1 bills
that's
here. It's so
funny.
weird, you know.
That is really funny. Yeah, we should have you wander over there because you have been rolling your beans
I've been rolling
after
beans.
they pop up.
Yeah. That'd be
Okay.
good.
You wait for post-emergence? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Right
I
on.
rent it, right? So they're all taken by everyone that rolls it before the beans come up.
Is that
and
right?
And then I get it afterwards, and then it works good.
Same difference, yeah.
I mean, beans like to be treated just terribly,
Like I
right?
said, they're kinky.
Yeah, they are kinky.
Dirty.
Beans like to be treated like all of my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I don't think they liked it very much. That's why they're exes, right? Yeah, I don't know.
That's right.
but
yeah.
beans like it.
Oh, that's you know what I don't know a lot about beans, and it's cool even coming down here. Like I mean, we grow a little bit of corn up in like the Saskatchewan part, but it's all just for grazing up there. We were talking a little bit about that yesterday, but so it's kind of cool to come down here and just see a lot of different things. Man, I was talking to this one guy that's got this scraper made for the in between the duels on your combine. He's like when you're in the deep mud combining, and I'm like. When you're in the what? Doing what?
You guys don't have mud?
We have mud, but I mean, we just don't combine in it.
right.
Or wait till it to freeze. Wait till
Yeah,
it to freeze.
yeah, but I think a bigger thing down here is like most corn goes through the dryer.
A lot
you know
do,
what I
yeah.
mean? And we try and avoid using the dryer at all costs at home, kind of thing, because we pay carbon tax on natural gas.
yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
you
didn't
know.
think about that element of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's expensive to turn them things on.
So we stopped by Vance Crowe in St. Louis and did his podcast, and he said,
Oh, awesome.
Canada is like 10 years ahead of us as far as
Policy-wise,
regulation and
yeah.
policy.
Well, he
said,
started talking about all that stuff. I was like, it's really eerie how bad it's going and how I see our country going that way.
how do we stop it?
I don't have that answer for you. I wish I had the answer. If we had it, it would be stopped in Canada.
Are people's bank accounts really being frozen? And
That was
all that
like
kind of stuff.
that was back. That did happen. So that was back during the trucker convoy, though, when they invoked the Emergencies Act, because you need the Emergencies Act in Canada to be able to clear the streets of a couple of semis and some bouncy castles and hot tubs. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's kind of the state of our country. But yeah, provisions under the Emergency Act, they found anybody that was donating to this convoy and all this different stuff. They froze bank accounts and social media accounts. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Instead of just coming out and talking to people and being like,
So
hey,
in Canada, you actually have the right to free speech. Is that in any kind of document anywhere?
right to free speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's under the Charter of Rights and Freedom. But it's
It would be kind of done away with. When
But like everybody kind of takes it for what it's worth. But when you have a government that jumps in and just like invokes the Emergencies Act, basically it just gives them the right to do whatever they want, kind of thing. But like they renamed it the Emergencies Act. It was initially called the War Measures Act.
Oh.
But can you
Churched it up a little
yeah,
bit.
so they changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. But like, could you imagine if it like revert back to that name? Could you imagine that you have a part of your population just comes to non-violently protest in Ottawa, and you have to invoke the War Measures Act to get them out? Like, come on, you know what I mean? Welcome to Canada.
The U.S. they can declare martial law. It'd be basically the same concept.
Same kind of thing, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it
we've
was
got guns.
For now.
Yeah,
But
for now.
talking to him, though, you guys had guns at one time.
Yeah.
Actually, no, all mine are gone.
Well, yeah.
Lost in a terrible boating
Did we all get in
accident.
the same boating accident
Yeah.
together? Oh, yeah. Who knew that was going to happen? Yeah.
We did. But that was an eye-opening conversation with Vance, just talking about where the future of podcasting is. If somebody doesn't like what we're saying on a podcast, you could be in jeopardy if that's the way policy continues to trend.
Yeah. So, and like a lot of that's happening in Canada now. They passed Bill C-11, which is a internet regulatory bill. And what it does is actually it messes with your suggested feed on YouTube. What they say, it messes with your suggested feed on YouTube so that it'll promote Canadian content that promotes language and diversity and everything in Canada kind of thing. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. So they try and make it, it's all about our heritage that we're trying to promote here. But like there's so many open areas within this bill that there's nothing stopping the CRTC from, say, putting a quick tick video to the bottom or fourth page of somebody's suggested videos. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's pretty scary.
I don't want that to hit us.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, same with you, Brian, and your podcast and your YouTube. And
Yeah.
if it starts getting throttled.
Right. It probably happens now, but especially if it was sponsored by the state, that feels really communistic, I guess.
Yeah. So as content creators, all of us, you have to fight an algorithm no matter what you're on. But can you imagine part of that algorithm being your government regulatory board?
Well,
how does that work?
Well,
right?
one thing about old Elon, it sounds like that's kind of been happening here on Twitter for the last few years anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like big tech is pretty scary. Yeah, and how serious things are with even your Facebook feeds and wherever else everybody does stuff. We're kind of at the mercy of them.
But yet we
right?
need it.
It's true. Yeah.
Or we wouldn't be sitting here.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I don't know. You know what? I think I can make it without the internet.
One
You
thing
think so?
that,
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to fix carburetors though, because then
we
I wouldn't be
asked
able
the-
to watch YouTube how to fix them. Right.
We asked a guest yesterday if they'd rather have a full cell phone battery or a full fuel tank. I think I know what your answer would be.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah. I'm fuel all the way.
Yeah, Brian, would you be the same way?
I'd use my full fuel tank to go find a phone charger. Problem solved.
See, he
Think
said
about
a full phone battery.
Yeah, he
so
chose
he
the
could call
phone
someone
battery.
to come give him a ride.
Okay, yeah, see, there's something there, right?
But it definitely tells the
What if the
difference.
person you're calling to give a ride chose the full fuel tank?
Oh, you're not going to answer the phone.
You're screwed.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, we did not go that deep.
No.
And you didn't think we'd be able to do this in the
There's-
morning.
yeah.
Put that one in.
See, I've got many layers. I always go very deep into where things are at, right?
Well, we asked Brian earlier, which came first, the orange or the color? The fruit or the color?
I've never heard that question before.
Kinda
we
the
didn't
reaction
either.
I had.
Holy, that is you guys just blew my mind here.
It's way too deep for this early in the morning.
But now you can go around the show, and if someone wants to come up and ask you, you could say, I'm trying to figure this out. The Farm4profit guys asked me, and I don't have the answer.
So after digesting that question for a minute here, I would say that the orange would have come first. And there would have been, what is that, an orange? And then they would have been like, when they saw that color somewhere else, they'd be like, oh, you mean orange?
It's like the orange, yeah. It's got to be.
And then they'd be like, yeah, orange. Did we just solve something in
I think
history?
we solved
I don't
It's
know.
like that salmon.
It's Cut open the fish. Like, this salmon, what color is that? Oh, it's the same color as salmon.
Yeah, I always thought salmon was just a protein until somebody's wearing a shirt that color, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice salmon shirt.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
I have a salmon shirt. It's not pink.
Don't you have salmon podcasting shorts too?
Yeah. They have crabs on
So
them.
these, when you say salmon, they don't have like a picture of a fish on them?
No. It's like the color. It's like a cross between a pink and a red.
Ah.
That's salmon.
That's why Brian and I get along.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I could see now why you guys chatted for a couple hours yesterday.
Well, I can get chattering pretty good sometimes too when I
I
get
was telling
going.
them you were about the easiest interview I ever did. I just had to kind of put a thought in there.
But like, yeah, every time you kept looking at your watch, and I was like, does that mean I should keep going or I should stop talking? I never knew. Yeah, it's like, stop right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why we strategically had Quick Dick on the last show of the day because it just kept going.
We didn't want to stop.
And Tanner made us stop, but we could have kept going for hours.
Yeah, as long as I've got beer in front of me, I'll just keep going.
We were good. That was a lot of fun.
So what do you drink for beer down here when you're such a big Canadian beer fan?
I'm a Canadian beer fan, right? So like basically when I'm down here, I'll drink anything,
Right.
You know, no standards. But like I'm a fan of the Yellow Jacket, the Coors Banquet.
Coors Banquet.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got no issues with that. But if there's something
You're a
that's
real
been
cowboy.
if there's something that's been brewed somewhere nearby, you know, I don't mind doing that either. And I mean,
Next time I'll get you some Natty Daddies classed
You're
up
in
a
the bourbon capital of the world if you partaked in that.
which is I tried a few. I can't remember the names of any of them, but
Yeah.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They
Yeah.
give you one hell of a headache the next morning.
Yes, they do. Brian, I wanted to hit. I just saw this on my note page, and I couldn't remember where I had seen it. But you've got matching service trucks, right?
So my dad has one and I have one, yeah.
Okay, two. I couldn't remember if there was three or not, but they look freaking sweet.
Yeah, so
Like they're decked out.
So oddly enough, pre-YouTube, walking around down here, I seen a service body that I liked that I wanted to put on my truck. Well, it was a steel bed, and we don't get a lot of salt or snow, but we do get a lot of salt. I mean, so I was like, man, that thing's going to rust out in no time. So I started looking for, and this one's you can pull a gooseneck trailer, which was kind of a requirement I wanted.
Yeah.
It's kind of sloped down. So I started looking for aluminum service beds, and I found this company in Ohio that makes them. So this is my second one I've had. Hughes Equipment service
really?
bed. Yeah.
So it's an aluminum bed.
Yeah, body
and then
paint.
You get it painted. Yeah.
Yeah, they body match it. Really, I mean, it's not a cheap bed. I mean, it's an expensive toolbox, but I mean, I have all my tools in it, so it's really I'd rather buy that than a Snap-on toolbox. And my plan originally was, well, I'll keep this for like 4 trucks because as long as Chevy doesn't change their frame rails, it'll fit on any Chevy pickup. Well, then I posted on Instagram my old truck with the bed, and it sold in 20 minutes. Shit, now I need a new bed.
You posted on Instagram?
Yeah, I had a 2004 Duramax that had 100,000 miles in that bed on it, and yeah, sold in 20 minutes.
Right.
Nice. Do you ever have structural problems with aluminum cracking?
Well,
Or do you guys actually have maintained roads in the U.S. as we don't in Saskatchewan?
I've got an aluminum trailer, and I get some broken welds.
Yeah, happens.
I had a tailgate crack from like putting forks and like pallet forks and shit on it, but
Gotcha.
I mean that
Also,
one
it's user error kind of thing.
Yeah.
Stabbed it.
maybe.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
Boys, it was good to chat with you. I got to run back to the Mandeko booth here. Or
Cool.
whatever,
Hey,
but,
thanks
yeah,
for jumping
good
in.
to see
Yeah,
you guys.
love it.
And take care. We'll be rolling around maybe a little bit later on. Eh?
See you, buddy.
All right,
Cool.
take care, guys.
We'll be here
See
all
ya.
day. Nice. Well, that was a nice little surprise.
Yeah, new shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
but those service beds though, I mean, like, we use those things every day, so we really like them. Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, because I know that my in-laws, my parents, we don't have anything that nice, that consistent. I think you've got, you build a pallet or you?
No, you built your brother.
That's
in-law
right.
built a pallet
Yeah.
that fits on their flatbed, like just for harvest time.
Okay.
It's got an air compressor, hose reel.
So my dad has always
Cooler.
had a service bed of some kind most of my life. Like he used to have one that it was contoured to the truck. Like from a distance, you couldn't tell it was a service bed.
Yeah.
And it rusted out real fast. And then he built a flatbed. And he was like, well, I'm going to build it because none of these were heavy enough. And hospital trip later and several metal purchases. It was like, you probably should just bought a flatbed.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes some things you're just better off just paying
Yeah.
to get it done.
Yep.
Well, the same thing else for everybody else that is listening to us for the first time. Something else we do at the end of every one of our shows is ask the guest the same question. And then that gives us some content middle of the year to do another follow-up show. And the question that we ask every one of our guests before we wrap up is, what does success look like to you? What does that mean? What does success mean?
I mean, like in the farm or the YouTube channel or
Anything.
anything?
Life, family.
So when I get towards the end of my life, if I could look back and I think I'm successful, would be I would love to be able to pass on like our family farm to a next generation. I think that's probably most family farms' goal. I would like us to be profitable and be able to pass that on to the next generation.
Yeah, I like that. Pretty simple.
Very good. And if you want to be profitable, you got to listen to the Farm for Profit podcast.
Yeah.
Profit in monetization and mind.
There you go. Get you a little intellectual knowledge.
So how do you guys answer that question?
Usually we don't answer it.
Well, I'm asking
We
you
let
that.
the guests. It's a tough one.
It is tough because we hear so many great answers, so it's like ever changing,
Okay.
right?
and all-encompassing because, you initially start off with one perspective, and then somebody states and relates it to their children, and then someone states the legacy of what they can leave behind and how people talk about you at your funeral, and some it's strictly monetary.
So I have a weird opinion on funerals. Like, I've been to funerals that are really extravagant and all this stuff. I tell my wife, if I die before you do whatever makes you comfortable.
Oh.
Because, like, my mom just passed away this past year, and, like, I'd never been through that process. And,
Yeah.
like, this is all a crock of shit. Like, to me, like, people are telling Dad what he should be doing, and you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, Dad, I don't care if this costs $10 or if this costs $100,000. If you can swing it, whatever makes you happy,
Yeah.
that's what I want you to
Right.
do.
That's
So-
a good approach.
If I die, like before 50, I want a party.
My brother once told me going through a divorce that, hey, if I die in the next few years, I want you to play Freebird at my funeral.
Yes.
So he hasn't told me otherwise. So he might be like 80, but he's getting Freebird at his
Yeah,
funeral.
I'm buying
I like
everyone
that.
a couple kegs and have a good time one last time with me,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
that's
But
good. Ryan, this has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's short, probably shorter than what your audience is looking for. If they want more of us, obviously they can come listen.
Yeah.
Same with our listeners. If they want to check out you more, how do they look you up?
So on all the social medias, Brian's Farming Videos, most active on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And then the podcast, Working Words Podcasting, where podcasts are available. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're Farm for Profit. It's the number 4, all squished together, FARM 4 PROFIT. So everybody, thanks for jumping on and listening.
Also on YouTube.
Where can I get your merch at? You guys have a
We don't
website?
have
Not
a
yet.
sales.
Working on a
Let's
merch
come to the
store.
show. We'll give you a free T-shirt if you mention it.
No, but this has been good. And then Corey always sends our listeners out the same way every time.
Yep, crack a bush light. You deserve it.